What if you could silence the noise of the world and access inner bliss? What if you knew the shining formulas for overcoming the enormous challenges that every soul faces? Welcome everyone, I'm Shakti Durga. Mystery School podcast, Ancient Wisdom for Everyday Life. We'll explore the ancient wisdom of the East and West, sharing stories and music, channeling light beings, scanning the unseen world, learning useful spiritual tools, and bringing forth peace, love, purpose, and abundance. In Mystery School, we co-create and share sacred frequencies, sending ripples of love that empower new possibilities to ignite our spirits, overcome obstacles, manifest our most inspired life, a life where your challenges become doorways to your deepest truth, where you anchor yourself in clarity and presence, not from your pain, but from the doors it opens into the deepest wisdom that's already within you. Your path has already begun. It's right beneath your feet. Let's illuminate that path together.
I want to welcome everyone to a very special show. You know, Shakti Durga and we were just chatting. And there are very few times in my life where I'm short for words or have a hard time explaining things. And we just got a demonstration. I've seen this before. When there is an energy, a vibration, a connection, there's something. And, there are things that you can't see until you see them. And then once you see them, you're like, oh, there they are. Energy is one thing. And it was interesting. The opener for the show, which you all heard beautifully, the opener for the show was a demonstration of what I was trying to say, but couldn't say it. And electromagnetically, just like the spiral path of light, sometimes there are things that wake you up. Listen, I love that little thing that went on right there. And, let's talk about it, because isn't this about patterns? Isn't this about texture? And you asked me a question, and I think it's perfect for tonight's show for you to really dig deep into this. The past month, I've had some deeply transformative things happen on the inside, the outside. And when people ask me why, I used to make up a story, but today you're going to walk us through the spiral path of light. And I think in this show, when I just love to, I could say it like I could say like the spiral path. I could say it over and over again, and I feel so good inside. But yet spirals, they can be glorious and they can be confusing. They can be clear, and they could be the mishmash that I used to get for Sunday dinner from my mom. Thank you for opening this year with me. What a beautiful show. What do you make of the energy of this?
Oh, Dr. Pat, Happy New Year to you and to everybody who's listening today. And we're moving from a 9-year where in the tarot we were looking at the hermit, and the hermit's always a solitary figure who's had to fight like crazy to get to the top of the mountain and really, and then is standing there alone in the sort of semi-darkness, shining the light from within themselves, but there's not much light in the world. And then in the tarot, this is a 10-year, which of course comes down in numerology to a 1-year. But in the tarot, a 10-year refers to the Wheel of Fortune. And so the Wheel of Fortune is a more auspicious, potentially abundant, happier kind of, more luck, I suppose, more grace coming through. That wherever we've been, things will change, that it will start to lift. But the thing that I've noticed over many years is that, our rational minds want everything to go in straight lines. And we want a straight line between where I am now and where I want to be. And I want to just get there as fast as I can. And whilst that is completely appealing to me as well, I just know spiritually, it's not the way the world is. It's not the way the design of the universe is. That in fact, energy, which you were talking about before, it doesn't so much move in straight lines. It moves in waves. and it moves in spirals. It's always got a curve, it's always rounded. And very often, when you are trying to move forward spiritually, which by the way is even that is something perhaps we can talk about another day. What does it mean to move forward spiritually? What does spiritual growth really even mean? But for right now, at the beginning of the year, people are looking forward to coming into a new level in who they feel they are, in what they're capable of doing in the world. And so, what I wanted to really address today is the fact that if we're on a spiral path, the spiral's going round and round and round, and what you want is up here, but the spiral keeps going round and round. And so, as you follow this spiral path, which is the way energy moves, it's the way energy will move you towards what you want mostly. What will happen is that there'll be times when on the spiral path you feel yourself moving close to the goal. You're so excited, it's just so close. I can just taste it. I can almost touch it, but you don't. And it doesn't materialize. And you're zooming around. And in a minute, you feel like you're further away from your objective than you were when you started. And that's because a spiral goes like this around a point, so it's spiraling, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And what's happening is our own internal energy is growing, and it's cleaning up everything that would be opposed to you having the experience that you want to experience. And so along the way, there'll be the stuff that we haven't seen before that just needs to be cleaned up. And so sometimes you can find that there's disagreements with people that you just thought, gosh, I've got on with this person for 12 years and suddenly they're attacking me, what's going on? And you need to use the skills you've learned in that situation so that that upsetting interlude does not sink you vibrationally, putting you right back to the beginning
Yeah.
again. And so it's like using every obstacle that comes up as an understanding that this is going to, when I deal with it cleanly, I deal with my emotions, I deal with my mind, I use my mind as no, I'm going over here. And particularly when you learn the spiritual laws and you learn about your intuition and the laws of correspondence, you learn about these things, you can start to have so many guideposts that are directing you as to what it is that just needs a bit of a tweak so that you can come into more of yourself and more of the essence of what it is you're trying to manifest. And then once the essence is inside of you, then it must materialize in your life, the good things that you're
Mm.
after.
Mm.
Mm.
I love the way you describe that
Mm.
because spirals are so beautiful.
Yeah.
In my family and one culture of my family, one of the most delicate foods ever made is made in a spiral.
Oh.
It is a very delicate hand technique to watch the grandmas that they take the flour and the dough and they make the spirals. Every spiral to the eye, they are
Mm.
exactly the same.
Mm.
And, as kids, they used to laugh at us as we would try to make the spirals the same. But as kids, we didn't want the spirals the same. And now, as adults, this is so beautiful what you shared. It's also the year of the fire horse.
Mm.
It's no mistake. It's a 1 year, and the year of what my Asian table tennis friends say is one of the luckiest
Mm.
of all.
It feels like that, doesn't it? Yet there's so much that seems to be sitting between us and what we'd like to be experiencing.
Oh my gosh.
Mm.
And let's talk about what one can do with that.
Mm.
Because, see, this is what you teach.
Mm.
This
I
is
try
what
and
you,
practice it. I do try and practice it as well. But
what,
it's
what?
about, yeah, it's about not giving your energy to the problem,
That's
but
right.
instead you're responding appropriately to the problem, but you're not becoming victimized by it.
Yeah.
And there's so many examples you could use, but the most poignant thing has happened here in Sydney. We had a shooting at Bondi Beach, and anyone who lives
Mm,
in or near Sydney, and I lived very close to there for a number of years when I was younger. It's an iconic, peaceful family place that people come from all over the world and have a swim at Bondi Beach, and there's just cafes and people having fun, and it's
mm,
just so relaxing. And suddenly there's this shooting, and 15 or 16 people died, and and it seems to be a terror attack. It seems to be religious motivation to the attack. It's very, very sad what's happened here. And we don't have this happen. Like the last one, I can't even remember when we last had anything like that in this country. And so the whole nation was absolutely stunned by this. And, you know, I've got a lot of Jewish friends, I've got a lot of friends in Sydney and in that area. And you can't help but feel the shock of it because we're human and we have an emotional body. And frankly, I feel that if we did not feel the sadness, the outrage, the anger, the you know the grief, there'd be something wrong with us. Don't you agree? Like you know, we need to have those feelings,
Yeah.
but we don't want those feelings to run our life. So we have to parent ourselves or soothe ourselves with those feelings and tell yourself, I'm safe right now. I'm safe right now. I'm safe right now. And then how can I support the people who were affected? So in my own life, I was able to offer healings to some of the people who'd been
Yeah.
involved. And that was my way, my little piece of being able to do something constructive. But the other piece is continuing to clear the energy through
Mm.
group energy healing. We clear the energy of all the negativity, the fear, the shame. And I'm going down next weekend to do some more of that in
Yeah.
Bondi. Um, but just by doing this clearing and then holding a vision that through this atrocity, we're going to have a more coherent, loving, kind community than we've ever had before,
Mm.
not just in Sydney, but everywhere. And that,
Yeah.
you know, the outpouring of help and support and kindness, it's like it takes us to a new place of awakening, heart opening, and anchoring the light within. So sometimes I think that if it wasn't for the problems that come, horrible as they are, we would just sit uh, in our little comfortable lives and we wouldn't really grow.
That's what
So,
I was
and there's,
trying to
yeah,
explain to you
yeah,
when
right.
you asked me the question. I didn't have the
Mm.
right word. I called myself lazy, didn't I?
Yeah, which I
But
think, Dr.
eh,
Pat, that is the last word I would ever
but
use
you
about
just
you.
explained it to me. See, I required a growth spurt,
Right,
but I needed things to be shaken up
right.
for that to happen.
Yeah.
And the story that you told is so sad. And
Mm,
had I not experienced what you're talking about, I mean, I grew up in a very tough situation. I
mm,
watched my friend get stabbed to death as we walked through. But here's what I want to say to your point, and I'd love you to talk more about it, because if we could hold the energy of what you just shared,
mm.
I got to work. I didn't know who Louise Hay was going to become,
Yeah.
but we had something in common. During the AIDS crisis in New York, and the men were dying, they were dying. It was none of us knew, none of us understood. We fought, we battled, we cared,
Mm,
but we didn't know that such an atrocity would bring a level of awareness, not just to the LGBTQ population, but the Haitians that
mm.
suffered from the disease, you
Right.
know. So, how do we work our way to ride the wave of the spiral?
Yeah. Well, for me, the first thing is to understand that we do have to feel our feelings. You can't just go and meditate straight away and go into bliss and not deal with it. You know,
No, you
there's a
can't.
time for meditation. There is a time for that. There's a time for me when it hits me personally. You know, when
Mhm.
it's something that's really raw for you. I find that it can take a couple of days maybe to just really to go beyond all of that into a place where you start to understand more about the innate heart of everyone, that everyone's got the divine inside them, and that for some reason a person was feeling so aggrieved, or they were so ill, or they were so whatever, so radicalized, that they put aside their basic divinity and their basic heart, and they were acting from a different part of themselves. They were acting from the separate self, because no one who's really experiencing connection can behave like that. They just can't. So
Mhm.
then you think to yourself, well, where do I step out of my connection, and where am I looking at my life and acting from my separate self? Where am I not containing my frustration? Where am I snapping at people? Your higher soul doesn't snap at people, your separate self does. And so it's just a matter of how much frustration and how much anger that these perpetrators have, that we have to sometimes go beyond what appears to be that's the evil guy, and we have to go, well, that guy has just channeled all the negativity of God knows how many people. All that energy of separateness is swirled around, spiral, and it comes to rest there. And that person carries that energy into creating a very negative situation. And so then if you work at it, and if you do things like Ho'oponopono, if you do forgiveness
Mm.
work when you're ready, you can eventually come to a place where you actually feel compassion, because you know that there are times when you get triggered. You know that there are times when you're not coming from your highest and best. I don't mean you, I mean one,
Oh no,
me,
you are
body.
talking about me. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
These have been
Yeah.
trying times for me. They have brought
Yeah.
out, parts of me that I thought was healed.
Yeah.
And
That's
yet I
it.
had to
That's
go
it.
through it to
Correct.
remember I'm not healed yet.
That's the spiral path piece that I was talking about, that we think we're compassionate.
Yeah.
But then something like this happens,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that the law shouldn't take effect. I'm not saying they shouldn't be arrested, they shouldn't be jailed, whatever, if they're found guilty by a court. I'm not saying it. You've got to have good boundaries actually to have compassion. But getting to that place where you feel, I understand that feeling that must have been driving you, and I have compassion for you.
Yeah.
I don't condone it. There are consequences, but I don't have to be in separateness to you.
Mm.
And that's the big breakthrough in consciousness, where we're coming from separateness to the unified field, the unity consciousness. So a lot of people think unity is about a vertical kind of relationship where it's between me and the divine, and that's part of it. But there's also the unified field of that everything that happens within our awareness is somehow related to us, or we would not be aware of it. So there's some ripple of energy that is connecting us into that, and our lives are speeding up. So we're going round and round these spirals faster than ever because of mass media, because of communication, telecommunication. We're aware of things that are happening in other parts of the world that our grandparents would never have even known about. They were just aware of the tiny little local life, and now we're being asked to expand our consciousness and to deal with much more. And so a lot of people are getting really sunk by that,
Yeah.
and I can really empathize with that. There are days, that all of us feel like that. But then it's like, okay, so using your spiritual tools, what have you learnt on your spiritual path that could pick you up in this moment and help you move forward? One of
I
the
love,
things I use when I'm
yeah.
feeling really down and really like I can't do, like I just don't have it, is I get energy healing. That's what I do.
Oh
I
yeah.
get energy healing to release all the thought forms, beliefs, negative thoughts, vibrations, emotions, all the judgments, all of that. I just ask the therapist to help me release all that, which is what we do in Ignite Your Spirit therapy. And then I start to feel me again. And then from that place of connection to myself, I remember, oh, I'm going around the spiral path. So I thought I was coming from compassion and connection before. This has just happened and shown me how much I'm not in compassion and connection, and how much I'm in judgment, and how much I'm in blame, and how much I'm in sheer anger that something like this would happen. And then I have to collect all that energy up and transmute it through the fire that is inside.
Mm.
And so that inner fire is helped by the fire of the sun. It's helped by the fire of true spiritual masters who are able to help us transmute these things, and spiritual practices that are very Shaktified spiritual practices. So thinking about fire rituals, or, when I was in Glastonbury recently, there's amazing water rituals that are happening all the time in the city of
Mm.
Glastonbury. And they are also fiery, even though they're water, and they're from the Western mystery tradition, but they really get you, and they get right into those parts where you thought you'd mastered this. And then, bam, it's like another turn of the spiral. You're asking to hold this in a bigger picture than you ever have before. And then you do.
Ah,
You eventually do. But one can't stop this process halfway through, because that's how people lose themselves to hatred, or they lose themselves to violence, or they lose themselves to us and them pulling further and further into extremity, and neither side can even talk to the other side in the end, which we're seeing a lot of that polarization in the world right now. But something will happen that will cause that to crack, and it's often a not nice thing that will happen to discharge all of that mutual hatred on whatever poles you want to talk about that are happening in our culture, and we know
Yeah.
sorts of
Yeah.
things.
It's so
Yeah.
interesting you're talking about this. I want to talk to you a little bit about, this new year and people that are reflecting on their progress or lack
Yeah.
thereof, you
Yeah.
know. Um, but I want to talk about you and the work you do because there's something you said, and I don't want it to just get blown. I don't want to blow by it.
Yeah.
You asked for help. See, that is what you do, the work you do, the people, the mystery school. You have
Yeah.
created
Mm.
a wellspring
Yeah.
of opportunities for people
Mm.
that can say, I am down a court. Because
Mm.
I hear this all the time. I
Mm.
don't know where to go. I got a call
Mm.
from a listener, oh my
Mm.
God, about a week ago, and referenced two of the shows. They were
Mm.
calling into a different show
Mm.
and they referenced two of the shows. And what they said was, I didn't know these people were here. They heard the show we did. I can't remember which show they referenced. And they
Mm.
said, the mystery school. And I said,
Mm.
yes. And
Mm.
I said, I said, you can call. You
Yeah.
can be part of that. Do you know what they
Mm.
said to me? This is why your work is so important. Please don't ever give it up.
Mm.
They said, do you think I'm good enough for her?
Oh.
Referencing you. I said,
Oh.
what do you mean?
Mm.
I said, Shakti Durga and I, all of us here, we are you.
Mm. Yeah.
That's why we do this.
Yeah.
And she asked me a follow-up question. She said, what are my qualifications to take a course?
Humanity.
Thank you. I didn't have that word, but I got that now.
Oh, you got to be
And
human, and you got to
and
have a
uh,
heart.
and I think she's
That's
going to
it.
call into the show on Thursday again.
Right. Yeah. Mm.
That one call, though, is what I needed to hear in that moment. See, because I was in the dip in the spiral that
Yeah.
day.
Right. Yeah.
I was in the
Mm.
dip.
Yes.
Not enough time today to go through it, but I was in the dip.
Mm.
And the thing that I do or don't think to do is say, why don't I call Ganga Ma and get a session with Shakti Durga?
Great idea, Dr. Pat.
Right?
I'd be so happy to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I've got to put you on the spot right here, didn't I?
No, it makes me very happy. I mean, I love doing healings. And
Yeah.
when you do healings for people who are on a spiritual path, doesn't matter what their path is, it's about how do we help that person go deeper and to go through these spirals and to come back into the light of themselves again. And that's what it's all about. And look, I totally understand that person who thought maybe I'm not good enough, because that's been my lifelong wound as well.
Me
And that's
too.
something that, even though I work through it, I work through it with different tools at different times. Sometimes you just wake up and you just think, God, I've just wasted my whole life. I haven't done this like that person. I haven't achieved that like that person. And you wake up feeling like that. Well, that's just part of the nature of our ego. And so we just need to be compassionate with ourselves when we feel that and go, that's a story, but it's not the truth. I am worthy. I have a heart. I have a soul. That's all I need
Mm,
to be on a spiritual path.
mm.
And community to me is one of the biggest treasures on the path,
Everything.
because, like this morning before coming on this program, which it's my morning here still in Australia,
Yeah.
and I've been over to our cow barn and done mantra with cows before coming, and there was a whole bunch of our community there, and just seeing them and just
Mm.
being with them and then doing the spiritual practices, it just brought such joy. And I know that sometimes you turn up feeling rotten, but end, you're feeling better, and that we've got a chance to speak with each other about things, and we do some healing with each other. We do group healing as well.
Mm.
So there's lots of ways we can get through these spiral challenges that,
And how do people find out about it? So you've got courses. What is the best
yeah,
way for them to connect? Who should they
yeah, well,
contact?
we've got a website, shantimission.org, because we're all about peace. So Shanti Mission. The mission is to find the peace inside yourself. And so there's all kinds of resources and courses coming up. We have an intake for our Energy Healing Foundation program that's starting online. It'll be done in different time zones to suit different folks in the world. And it's so transformative. And you don't need to know anything about energy healing, but you will be so resourced by the end of that 10 session program. And it's all recorded. If you have to miss any of them, you get the resources, you get meditations, you get a book. There's all sorts of stuff that comes with that. And that's starting very soon. The details are on the website. And then later in the year at Easter, we're going to have a 3-day intensive on developing intuition. And I'm
Mm.
hoping to get over to the States and offer that one as well, to look at intuition and discernment and how what gets in the way of our intuition so that we can peel that back
Mm.
and then get more and more of the clarity we need to help us moving forward
Mm.
on our path.
May we do one of our future shows on that topic?
Sure.
And the reason I'm asking is because there is a gap between people's view of intuition and spiritual guidance, and there is no gap.
Mm.
And yet, every year I reflect on my life. And this year I was shocked by how many times I followed my gut. Let's just call it that. And when I didn't, and I wonder if you could give us a sneak peek of what you're getting ready to do.
With the developing intuition program, yeah, well, it's all about finding the stillness first of all, and it's also about developing the hardware of your etheric body so that you can pick up the subtle energetic stimulus, because the intuitive wisdom that we're seeking, it doesn't flow through your mind as thinking. It flows through energy as pure awareness and pure consciousness, that you just know it. You just know.
Yeah.
And it's very clear. And one top tip that I would give to people about how do I know if it's intuition or just my mind? If it is truly your intuition, which is coming from your soul, coming from your team of light, you will know. You will know. There won't be uncertainty. There won't
Mm-hmm.
be doubt. It'll just be clear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, you
Mm.
might have challenges of putting it into place,
Uh, uh,
and it might
that's why I
challenge you
brought it
in
up.
your life. But in that moment of receiving it, you go,
Mm.
I'm totally clear. I just
Yeah.
know that happened. And then the other part of the clarity is when something happens in your world, in your physical world,
Mm-hmm.
that then corresponds with the intuition you received.
Yeah. I want to
Yeah.
share something and thank you for something.
Yeah.
Linda and Jessica's running the show. Linda is, of course, you hear from Linda. Linda's our triple Virgo.
Right.
But since we've started to do this, she has gotten exposed to different things.
Right.
So I gave her a little gold statue of Ganesha,
Ah,
right? Okay. Months ago.
Ganesh there.
And
There's Ganesh.
exactly.
Yeah.
Little
Yeah,
teeny. And
right.
she
Yeah.
keeps it on her computer. But in
Mm.
our move back, I removed it.
Ah,
I don't know why. Linda says, where did you go with her?
ah,
Now knows nothing except intuitively of the energy. And I said, well, what do you mean? She says, you took my lady from the computer. I said, you talking about the little? She said, I want it back.
ah.
So people think they have to be knowledgeable, they have to be wise, they have to sit on a mountain. And what you're talking to people about is no.
No, practical everyday stuff. It's
Exactly.
just about how to be a better you in the life that you're already leading.
Yep.
Then what happens is just you evolve. And there
Yep.
comes times when you can look back and you can go, whoa, I can really see how I've changed.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
I look at Jessica And I say, I want to be her when I grow up. I
Yeah.
absolutely, to have the level of intuition and
Mm.
resilience and
Mm.
inspiration. It is fascinating to be so honored to do this show with you,
Oh, thank you, Dr. Pat.
your team,
Yeah.
and what you bring to the world.
Mm.
And this will be a year beyond any descriptive words energetically to help people rise up. And you've already started it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. It's good to see you.
Good to see you. And I'm
Mm.
changing my room, so I'll have different things on here. Um, but I want to thank you. And please, we'll make sure we let people know how to sign up for classes, how they could say yes
Yeah.
to a new spiral in their lives.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, I will be going to India and running the Spiral Path in India in March, and that's on the
Wow.
shaktidurga.com website. I'll be going to visit my teacher in the Himalayas, and we'll be looking at how the Spiral Path takes you through 12
Wow.
mansions of the soul that you live in your life. Very exciting.
I'm going to have to talk to you offline. I got an invitation to go to India. I don't know what to make of it. So,
Okay.
hello. Shakti, again, give out your websites again for people to find out more if you could.
Yeah. Shantimission.org and shaktidurga.com. So check
Lots
it
of
out. We hope
resources,
to meet
free,
you.
a lot
Yeah,
of free
totally
information
free.
for all of you. And can I ask you all to do something? Can you pay it forward?
Mm,
Can you pass it on and tell a friend, a family member?
mm,
And I don't mean in a controlling way. I mean in a consciously beautiful, caring, empathetic way.
mm.
Thank you for everything. Thank you, Jessica. To
Thank
all
you.
of you out there, this is the year we get to make it
Mm,
exceptional.
mm,
At the Transformation Network, that's what we're building to help you do it.
mm.
We are the vehicle, the vessel, the conduit. Our hosts, like Shakti Durga, her team, all of us here, wish you a very, very amazing 2026.
Yes, we do. Thank you for joining me for Mystery School, Ancient Wisdom for Everyday Life. Be the detective of your spirit and soul and seek the doorways to a new reality. Take one insight from today and let it illuminate your path. Visit shantimission.org to learn more about our other programs, meditations, and resources for living with ease and grace. And sign up for our free Soulful Relationships Masterclass. In this class, we'll cleanse and purify the relationship energy in a key relationship in your life. Previous students have experienced rapid transformation in their marriages, in their relationships, with family, work colleagues, teenagers, just from this one practice. And you'll have a spiritual key to successful relationships that you can use again and again. Sign up for the free masterclass at shantimission.org. And we'll be back at 3 p.m. Pacific time every first and third Monday for Mystery School. Mark it in your calendar. We'll see you next time.